Okay, we got people in the chat. How's it going? See if the microphone volume is right. Watch Red Letter Media. Where do you come up with these people? See, I'm pretty sure like the guy is famous, but because YouTube's algorithm is broken, the only thing they recommend to me is Tucker Carlson. So Tucker Carlson and Jordan Peterson. That's what they recommend to me. So I really don't know about any other YouTubers. But I wanna talk about something. I wanna touch on something that I noticed. Why is it that whenever you criticize something people like on the internet, they turn into monsters? And I can give you an example. One of the most banal conversations ever. If you say you like opai, if you say you like big boobies, right? Like you like girls that have big boobies, and you say that on Twitter, you get the itty bitty titty squad, which I like to consider it as a terrorist organization, because they terrorize people who disagree with them. Their general is Louis Levat, and honestly, like they're vicious. They're like vicious sharks attacking you if you disagree. If you say like, no, a woman needs to have an ample bosom, like a woman needs to have a big soul, you know, and they're like, no, and they attack you. So it's a little bit upsetting. There's a new Castlevania. I didn't like Castlevania season 1, to be honest. I just like, if I was a teenager, I would have liked it more. But it was like, okay, monsters are coming and this guy is fighting the monsters, and it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. Didn't really like it. But I can't say it's bad. I can only say that it was not for me, right? So there's that. I also didn't get into the lore of the game. I don't know what Castlevania is about. Never had the console, so I didn't play it. But yeah, I mean, meh, I guess. I know a lot of people liked it, and that's why it got 4 seasons. Flat is justice. See, like the itty bitty terrorist squad is in my chat right now. They're like, flat is justice, and I keep saying this, and I'll say it again. All right, like this is what I like to say to the itty bitty terrorist organization. Give me a second. What was the name of the okay, this is great. So we got yeah. Alright. So in my opinion, the people that like girls with flat chests, they also probably like little boys. You know, I'm just saying. But here's some justice, alright? Here's the flat is justice part. So you get like this picture with Weinstein holding Hermione here, and then you get another picture with Weinstein being held in a similar position by 2 strong men. So I guess you know, like this is a little bit of a justice happening here. Like it's a justice moment. I don't know if the people who promote the itty bitties Tactical Droid considers himself a centrist on the issue. Well, it depends. I mean, at one point, I guess there is the thing that is too big. You know, like I draw the line at melons. Bigger than melons is a problem. Is there a fruit bigger than a melon? I guess like a large pumpkin. Yeah, like a large pumpkin would just not do. So, anyway, that was my hot take of the day. Abdi Muhammad, obviously, coming from a more conservative place, a more pious place, is of course having the absolute wrong opinion, the really dumb take that I genuinely like. I can't even introduce him into this conversation. That's how far out his take is. But all right, what are we talking today? Yeah, we're talking about movies. So is it just me, or when you watch Efap, like there are certain moments when they try to out autism each other in order to find like every single frame? I know that it's called every frame a present, but they're trying to like go into a fight scene and watch it frame by frame in order to find something that isn't cool, something that's not logical. And to me, it's just like bizarre. Like, why would you do that? Like, my standard is, if you watch a fight scene, and when you're watching the fight scene, you notice the cringe, like, for example, in the Birds of Prey, like, that fight scene is just abysmal, then you can say, yeah, that's a bad fight scene. But if you watch a fight scene like Game of Thrones, where you have the guy with two swords, I forgot his name, he was supposed to be the best swordsman in Westeros, and he is fighting against three other dudes. Like, if you watch it frame by frame and you're showing, it's like, oh, look, at this point, like, he could have parried, like, he could have ran the guy through. I'm like, when you watched it the first time, you didn't complain. Like, you actually had to slow that down. Like, of course, if you put one person fighting against three other people, the other three people need to act like morons in order for the main character to win. So, yeah. I like how you're like, you draw the line at melon. Okay, maybe pumpkin. No, the problem like I have is that, and this is my concern, right? I do think that in order for movies to be good again, you have to promote and to cheer when you see a good movie or a good TV show. And you need to have realistic expectations. Like, you can't expect perfection, because you're never going to get perfection unless you look at Breaking Bad. But if a movie is entertaining, I think it should be promoted. And the reason most movies and TV shows aren't entertaining nowadays is not because of realism. It's number one because of logical inconsistency. It's number two because of shoehorning politics. Like, almost every single movie screams capitalism bad, capitalism oppressive, capitalism blah blah blah. And it's also to do with the fact that they deviate too much from the source material because they lack originality, so they try to copy something. Like, it's a remake, a reboot, a sequel, a re-inspiring or whatever. So yeah, I think that's why is the problem with movies in the West. You find cringe, you might lose immersion. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like, I didn't think it was cringe, and I keep giving this as an example because it's like just etched into my brain. But like, they were complaining that during the Mandalorian, someone was punching Maldo in the helmet. Like, first of all, helmets don't protect you from blunt damage. In other words, if you punch someone in the head with a helmet, they will still feel it. Now, if you try to use a knife against someone with a helmet and you try to slash the helmet, then, yeah, that's ridiculous. The reason Efap is bad is because they have permanently lost their suspension of disbelief. I don't think that... Okay, so I don't think Efap is bad, but I do think that some of their criticisms aren't on point. And I do feel like when they expect way too much realism for a movie, it's not realistic. Copying is sometimes fine, but we also need to tap our copyright laws. Well, I don't mind, like, if someone copies... Okay, sequels and prequels and reboots, they're fine, but they should at least try to keep to the original IP, like the soul of the original IP. Like, if you want to make a new Star Trek, at least try to make it so that it's set in the setting of Star Trek, like it's a brand new opportunity for mankind. Like, everything is nice and everything is like the peak of humanity evolution. Like, that is the essence of Star Trek. And if you just have like, oh, look, guns in space, pew 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 pew, and you know what? Actually, the Federation is evil. They're oppressive. They're oppressing the robots and whatnot. Like, no. Movie do need a baseline of realism like gravity, unless explain why it doesn't exist in the movie. Action scenes are supposed to be exaggerated. Yeah. I suppose... Okay, so movies do need a thing like gravity, but if it's a cool action scene, like, okay, Superman saving Lois, right? So Lois falls down from the top of the building, and Superman manages to catch her. Now, realistically speaking, that would break her spine from the way it was shot in the movie, right? Like the first Superman movie where Lois is falling down and Superman just goes from down up and catches her. That would break her spine. But I'm okay with that not happening. Like, I'm okay. You know, like, I don't expect the director to invest money and resources to get Superman to like slowly hover with her and then slowly catch her to adjust his speed and trajectory. It's like, no, I get what they were going with. You know, like there is like if it's not a cringy scene, if it's not cringing in the moment, it's fine. It's doable. Is there any Hollywood movie with realistic gore from gunshots? So they actually used to do that a lot in the past. Slasher films were actually slashy. But I guess, I don't know, you don't get gunshots, but The Passions of Christ has a lot of gore. Although, yeah, like this is something that bothers me in Hollywood. Like you have someone with an assault rifle and he lays down gunfire and the people, they just die, they fly out of the and there's no blood whatsoever, right? So like, yeah, I guess that's something that wouldn't have bothered me in a Rambo movie or something back in the day. But you also have to take into account that now a lot of people play video games, a lot of people are on YouTube, and a lot of people have different expectations of how guns work and how anatomy works. So they might be a little bit pulled out of the immersion, I suppose. But I do understand why that's happening, and it usually happens because they want the PG rating. Like, they want the young teenagers to be able to watch. Because you get, like, these ratings, and that's why when you have, like, an action scene, it's not 100% realistic. Movies where the story supersedes the visual effects are the best. Yeah, I mean, you don't really need, in fact, I would say, like, the more special effects, the worse, unless you have like a brand new technology and you can mind blow people with the special effects, and that can happen. I, for once, like, if a lot of people didn't see Avatar in the cinema with the 3D glasses, right? And because they didn't see Avatar in the cinema with the 3D glasses, they have a completely different opinion about the movie. They find it boring, they find it lame. But for the people that actually went and saw it, it used a brand new technology that I haven't seen in any other movie since, but it was genuinely 3D. I mean, it wasn't like 3D like the Avengers, where you have like a couple of scenes with Iron Man fighting with Hulk, and then that's like a little bit 3D-ish, and you get to see some smoke coming out from the screen. No, like the entire movie was genuinely 3D, and it was just amazing, right? So I guess you can have like these works of art, like if you focus exactly on the special effects and you have like some brand new technology that wows people. Yeah, I mean, it could be a memorable movie, because I still remember Avatar even after all these days, but I forgot all the other nameless movies that I've seen since. If you were to make like a movie in VR, that would be really great. You know, I think there was another movie they made which was in first person. Like the entire movie, you get to see it in first person, and that's great. So technically, technically it is possible to have a movie with great special effects. My personal favorite is The Matrix, okay? Now, the story of The Matrix isn't bad, but honestly, when I watched it the first time, I was a teenager, and I didn't understand anything of the bullshit philosophy that they were spoon-feeding me. Like, I legitimately, like, the first time I watched The Matrix, I understood jack shit, because I was like a 14-year-old teenager or whatever. But I really liked the fact that they were spinning around, and they were fighting, and they were doing the jumps, and the agents and shit, so I guess, yeah, like Hardcore Henry is one, but I guess you can you can have, you know, a movie that's just special effects, but the special effects have to be so out there. They have to really like push the envelope when it comes to the technology in order to just compensate for a boring story. You can ignore real-world physics, can be ignored if you can fool the audience or based on what kind of a movie. A realistic medieval concept, you need more realism, but superhero movies have more leeway. Yeah, I do agree. I fully agree. Like, you can ignore real-world physics if you can fool the audience. So, I guess, like, let me think about something that fools real-world physics. Okay, Rambo. using an arrow with an explosive in order to take down a helicopter, right? Like when you see that scene for the first time, and like back then when people didn't really know anything about, you know, bows and arrows and stuff. Yeah, like that scene is kind of cool. Like you can't complain that scene wasn't exciting when you saw it in the cinema, but physically it would probably be impossible. I mean, even if you were to have like an arrow that would go boom and you're hitting it in a helicopter, I don't think it would have the necessary force in order to destroy the helicopter's fuselage in order to make it explode. Another example is cars exploding, right? Like that breaks physics. Like in the real life, most cars don't explode. I have friends who work in who work in an ambulance, and they go out in order like to do emergency medicine, and they've never seen a car explode. I don't even know, like, I guess it's possible, but like in a movie, if a car falls down a cliff, it's going to explode when it reaches the ground. If two cars hit each other, they're going to explode. Now, I personally don't fucking mind if it's entertaining, right? If it's not cringeworthy, it's fine. Like, okay, have your explosive car. Why not? Why not have your explosive car? Like what's wrong with the cars exploding? Yeah, sure, they don't explode in reality, but you know what? Like, they explode in movies. That's fine. There are a couple of things that I don't like in movies, and you know, like it goes against what I'm preaching, I guess. When you have the guys in armor, and what I mean is like these guys. In Romania, we call them the cockroaches, right? Because they're black. So you have like these guys, and the hero has a handgun, and he is shooting these guys, and they just fall down dead. And the reason I don't like this is because this doesn't really add anything to the movie. Like, it doesn't add drama or anything. I mean, they look cool and tactical and all. But what's the point in having armor if they can be taken down with a handgun? Like, it would actually make a cooler scene if the hero would have to struggle against some of these people because, like, the handgun doesn't work, right? So that would be kind of cooler. But yeah, like you see it in a lot of movies. You have like these really, really, you know, well armored, well trained people, and the hero with the handgun just go bang, bang, bang and takes them out. And it's like, really? I mean, why did you feel the need as a director to pull them out and fully arm? In fact, it would be cooler if the hero dresses up like that, and then it's more explained why he can actually survive a bullet or two. Electric cars might explode more easily. Jesus. Well, what if electric cars are going to be like those mobile phones that they catch fire and they burn in your pocket? It's to have a dehumanized antagonist for the hero to kill. Yeah, but why not just make him a generic bad guy then? Why have to armor him up? My fucking god, I'll have to watch John Wick. Like, everyone keeps talking about John Wick as if it's the best shit ever since Grandma changed her diapers, but like, I don't have time to watch movies. It's so sad. A lot of military jargon is completely unrealistic. Yeah, like here's the problem. When I got into medicine, I stopped enjoying a lot of movies. And the reason that I stopped enjoying a lot of movies is because I know how the human body works, and it really breaks my immersion. So, for example, if I see someone getting shot in the belly and they fall down dead the next second, as if they were shot in the head or something, I'm like, oh, come on, you know, that's not real life. But I'm not complaining because I understand that my knowledge of how human body works is not shared by the overall audience. So for a lot of people, you know, that is enjoyable. And if you were to actually recreate, like if you were to bring realism on the scene, and you'd have like a human being dying the way realistically is supposed to, I don't know how many people would watch the movie. Like, that would be a scene that's uncomfortable as fuck. Perhaps it would be a fine live stream if you buy some seeds and we all watch you plant the garden. My god, I need to make a video with my garden and show it to Stick, Sex, and Hammer. Like, you wouldn't believe the weeds in my garden are trying to become taller than me. Like, will I be taller than the weeds, or will the weeds manage to outgrow me? That's the question. Just stream it as a watch along, like Amelia does. Oh my god, do people actually like that? Like, do people actually like, if I were to stream John Wick now, okay, fine. Let's say I would stream John Wick. How many of you would even have the movie to stream it along with me? How much you can suspend disbelief depends on how much people understand things. The people educated in that field breaks immersion. Yeah, pretty much. I fully agree. But it's also like okay, if you take hacking for an example, right, and how computer works. If you did the hacking scene in the 80s, you could pretty much get away with anything. But if you do a hacking scene now, like, a lot of people do have a firm understanding about like how computer software works from a user perspective. So if you were to do some hacking now, it would be a lot more difficult. Watching military stuff in movies with my job makes my eye twitch. I wonder if it's the same for cops. Like, if cops watch a detective movie. What I know about how cops actually handle business is they try to be cheap and efficient, because every single police department is usually low on resources. So they usually have to prioritize, like, which crimes to ignore and which crimes to go after. They usually have to prioritize how many men they should send for various crimes. Like, that would make a really boring movie if you made it like that. Let's hack the planet. Hollywood thinks hacking is typing very fast. Yes. Early 2000s CSI are pretty silly sometimes. I used to like them. Go full daddy hackers to make it comedic. Yeah, well, typing really fast. Yeah, that is true. That's how hacking works. I cringe when I see JavaScript classes scrolling along when they show the. Okay, so if I were to think about Hollywood tropes that really bother me, and they're tropes because you see them in every single movie. Why is it that when someone runs away from someone else with a gun, right? So I pull a gun at someone, and the other person runs away. They run in a straight line rather than zigzag. Like, I think it's common sense. Like, if you are running away from someone that's trying to shoot you. Like, I don't think, like I think it's just reactionary. Like, you're not even, like, all human beings would probably do the same. They would run in a zigzag, right? But in Hollywood, they always run in a straight line. Reminds me of the Game of Thrones thing where they throw, like Ramsay shoots an arrow in the sky, and you have, like, that kid running towards Jon Snow, but the arrow goes into the sky and then falls down and bloop, right on top of the head. Like, why didn't the kid look behind him? Why whatever, you know. I mean, the thing is, like, I understand that that's drama, but it would be just as dramatic if literally he would have ordered all the archers to fire in the air at the same time, and then the kid wouldn't be able to dodge, you know? That running scene at the end of Prometheus. I forgot how thick the pillar was, but I think, like, even if she would have run to left or right, she might still get hit. Nick Riqueta also talked about this. He said most stories are bad, especially ones from video games and anime, because they are new mediums. The moment you tell creators good enough is the moment they stop improving. I disagree. I think anime has a lot of great stories. I think video games have a lot of great stories. Well, I mean, Mass Effect is... My god, like, if you look at the Mass Effect lore, and you read all of the written text, they even explain how the internet would work in the future. You have the internet, which is interplanetary, and then you have, like, the extranet, which connects planets together, and the extranet is on a priority basis. So governments have the highest bandwidth when it comes to the extranet, and then large corporations have secondary access, and then it's like the small companies, and only afterwards do you have, like, the users, the normal people, and it's incredibly expensive, right? So I was thinking, it's like, you know, that is just a small touch. Like, obviously the story was much larger, but I was, like, thinking, well, these people even thought about how the internet would work in the future. Because, like, it's actually a good question, right? Like, if we manage to colonize the solar system, let's say we colonize Mars and the moon, you have the internet, right? But, like, how would you connect the internet from Mars and Earth, right? Assuming, like, they would be equally developed. And yeah, you'd have, like, an extranet, but, like, the lag would be immense, right? Like, you wouldn't have the technology in order to send the information, the packets as fast from Earth to Mars. So what you would do is like, yeah, you'd have like the government probably, you know, they would use the extranet for the most important things like military communications and whatnot. And then you'd have like the big corporations, like for example, a gaming company could take stuff from Earth, download it, and then sell it on Mars. So yeah, I mean, you can say a chain of floating satellites, but man, like if you're talking about a universe like Mass Effect that spans across galaxies, so it spans across the galaxy and you got like many planets together, a chain of satellites wouldn't work. Yeah, you'd probably have more than a 5-minute lag, to be honest. You'd need pylons in space probe to terrorism, which would be a sick storyline. I don't know how they did it. Lightspeed lag between planet will be fun. Interplanetary fiberglass. They actually, like, I think there is a story where, like, one, they do have, like, these pylons, I guess, like, these places between planets. And there is a story where one faction, like, tried to attack one of these pylons and you have to take them out. You have a multi-star system empire and you need faster than light communications. Yeah, I mean, it is a problem, right? Like, it is a question. Like, how would you send messages from one planet to another? Mass Effect has FTL relays and quantum communicators. Yeah, but like, even with the quantum communicators and the FTL relays I don't think work for messages, right? They just work for ships. And the quantum communicators, they're good, and they consist the extranet, but even they have the limits within that universe. There was that chain of stargates. Yeah, I remember that. That was cool. You need satellites in the large points, 3 and 4. Mars is between 5 light minutes and 15 light minutes away from Earth. Yeah, but like, I was just giving Mars as an example. And even if it's like 5 minutes and 50 minutes, I think like it's going to be a problem if Mars would have the population of Earth and you would try to establish like an internet between Earth and Mars. Like there would still be lag and delay. Jesus, can you imagine that? Like in the near future, like you're playing Counter-Strike with a guy from Mars. Can you imagine the lag? Like, it's gonna be easy, man. Just use quantum strangling for zero lag internet all over the universe. Let me see. Why do people know exactly how fast, how far away Mars is? But anyway, right? Let's talk about something else. Because I think I talked everything that. Oh my fucking god! You know, every now and then you go on Twitter. And you find the worst hot takes. Like, you find some hot takes that are just mind-boggling. So, Global Times. Tiananmen Square embodies Chinese people confidence in China's politics. The Chinese public understanding of June the 4th incident has fundamentally changed. We laugh at those posturing commemorative activities orchestrated by outside forces. If the incident 32 years ago has any positive effect, that is, it inoculated the Chinese people with a political vaccine, helping us acquire immunity from being seriously misled. Okay, fine. No matter how much the CCP justified the slaughter of Tiananmen Square, the people of the world will not understand and will think of China as the pre-modern nation because of their contempt for human rights. All right, now look at this take. Look at this take. Is democracy the only form of governance allowed nowadays? That's a rather fascist opinion. Motherfucker! Oh, fuck me! Like, literally, the only thing bad with fascism is the abolition of human rights and the instauration... Well, okay, two things that are bad. But, like, number one is the abolition of human rights. And I'm not talking about it in an ideological sense. I'm talking about it in that people try to flee fascist nations. Like, they want to get the fuck out of there. But the second one is the dictatorship aspect, okay? Like the tyrannical dictatorship. That's the problem with fascism. And you're not saying, like, if you don't want democracy, that's a fascist opinion. Fuck me. How do these people rationalize themselves in these positions? What does fascism even mean to these people at this point? Mr. Robot got hacking right. The most realistic game for its time is Metal Gear Solid 3, not because of story game mechanics such as food going bad. I remember that. Yeah, and you could eat snakes. That was actually cool. It's fascist not to allow fascism. Like, literally, that's how they rationalize themselves. If you don't allow fascism, it's fascist. Being opposed to authoritarianism is fascism. Yes. This is the spice take of the day. Man, do you know what the fuck I have to deal with? Like, this is what I get. Whatever I make this week is stupid. I have to go through these things. And I honestly, it hurts your psyche. Okay, let me show you some of these things, okay? Let me show you what I had to go when I made this week. This is coming up tomorrow. You get a fucking sneak peek, okay? Now, every brand in the world is trying to say how gay they are. Like, it's Pride Month, and everyone is like, okay, this is how much we care about the LGBT. We decided to put the rainbow color on our product. Perfect. You know? So you get Everyman Jack to help you clean after the celebration. Implying that the celebration is dirty, I guess. We've brought back our body wash pride pack. Get this limited edition featuring our 4 most popular scents. And we'll donate 25% of the proceeds to our friends at the Rainbow Railroad. Okay, fine. You know, like, this is okay. Everyman Jack, what is not okay... Alright, and I encourage you to sit down because this is going to hurt you. Like, your sides are going to fly into orbit as you're going to see it. This is, okay, so this is their motto, alright? Every man with Jack grew with... I can't say it! I can't fucking say it! Ah! How tone deaf can you be? How can you be this tone deaf? Ah!
Radu și Virgil investesc.
Oh, Dios mío. Like, when I first saw it, I thought it's a 4chan thing. I thought, like, people from 4chan are doing... Alright, no, hold on, like, I'll give you another one. You know what? This stream has 100 people, alright? It's not going to be major spoilers for tomorrow, I guess. Like, not a lot of people will be spoiled. This is my favorite brand that tries to protect marginalized minorities, alright? Raytheon Missiles and Defense. The aerospace company, the international warmongering corporations whose job is to create shit that blows people up, is that telling me that they care about marginalized communities? Nothing screams gay more than a missile made by the aerospace company. Oh, fuck off. I mean, this level of woke cynicism, my God, it's astonishing. Yes, the meme of the rocket with the pride flag is literally real now. It's not getting real. It's literally real. Like, it's de facto real. It's happening. Oh, and then there is, like, another company, Injustice. Okay? Injustice, if you know what Injustice is, it's a game from the same company which made Mortal Kombat. And in Injustice, you have, like, superheroes beating themselves up. And in order to celebrate Pride Month, You get to beat the living shit out of Poison Ivy. Which, again, is tone deaf as fuck, right? Like, Poison Ivy is supposed to be queer, I suppose. Like, I never got that. I mean, I thought she's just friends with Harley Quinn, but you know how progressives act, right? Like, if you can't have two guys just being friends. You can't have just two girls being friends. They also need to be gay. Which, okay, fine. Whatever. But... How can you... How can you think it's okay... Wait, why can't I find the video? Oh, I think like the video was removed. Yeah, but why would you think it's okay? Let me see if I can find this. So Injustice Mobile Team apologizes for Pride promo where you beat up. So Poison Ivy is supposed to be the LGBT character, and for Pride Month, you get to beat her up. Wow, like who thought about this? Who thought that this is a good idea? You know, like, you have to understand there was a company, and there was a boardroom, and the guy walks in, and the director goes like, alright, what do you got for me, Stu? Hey, you know what we think? We need to celebrate Pride Month. Like, how do we do it, Stu? It's like, oh, we put one of our LGBT characters, and the players can beat them up. Oh, what a great idea, Stu. Fuck me. So, Injustice 2 apologize for the tone deaf challenge for the mobile version of the fighting game, which asks players to beat up on a queer PC character. Man, if Nazis were in charge, okay? If Tactical Droid was in charge of the company, he would not come up with this shit. Like, this is only something that progressives can come up with. Like, Tactical Droid, you know, with his dystopian takes, wouldn't be able to come up with this shit. Predictable. People want to rail Samsung's rejected AI mascot. The AI mascot for Samsung was absolutely beautiful, and it's predictably. Yeah, predictably... the company created something the market wanted. The market wants it, but we managed to stop it using our morality. The Injustice 2 Mobile developed by posted a global challenge titled Love Conquers All earlier this month and labeled the challenge as a pride celebration in which players must collectively beat down Poison Ivy. The idea is to bring people into the mobile version of Injustice to work together to win special rewards. The more times you beat Poison Ivy, the more prizes you... Oh, shit! For beating Poison Ivy... Oh my god, this is just... Oh. I'll save this for tomorrow's video on my other channel. Holy crap. That is... Ah. Yeah, it's literally a fighting game. I know, Rodrigo Serafim, but like here's my problem, right? Like you have certain mediums, like fighting games, like South Park, you know. And in South Park, for example, everyone gets to be made fun of. In Simpsons, everyone is made a stereotype. So you end up having like these requests to have more diverse characters in these shows. And when you do have the diverse characters, then people are complaining. It's like, hold on a little bit. You know, why is this character now being made into a stereotype? It's like, because it's in The Simpsons. Everyone is a stereotype in The Simpsons. Or, you know, alternatively, you can have like this really awful thing where you get like the Muppets, right? And in the Muppets, everyone has like flaws. Like every character has a flaw, like Miss Piggy, right? Like she's really greedy. Like that's her flaw. And then you have like another, request for diversity. So you now have like another female Muppet and she's got no flaws. So she's the only one that sticks out like a sore thumb for like having no flaw in a show where everyone has flaws. Yes, it's really, they posted something like you beat Poison Ivy 175,000 times. Just 225,000 times more and you'll unlock special rewards. Oh my god, I believe that pans out if you look at the LGBT domestic violence statistics. Oh fucking hell. It's just my guess is that this is a constant mechanic and the only change was picking her. Yes, because corporations are fucking lazy. Like, do you think they genuinely give a shit? Like, all they do is like, okay, they paint a rainbow, they have a nice message, and that's it. That's their job for the month. If you do the Pride, 1/12 of the year stuff, your company is obviously shilling. If you don't, they will go after you. Man, you know, like, they're livid because Nintendo isn't doing it. Like, let me show you something, alright? Like, let me show you something about Nintendo. So if you go on Twitter right now, even the, as I pointed out, even the international work companies, they have the pride flag. But you know who doesn't have the pride flag? It's like, who wants a free Nintendo Switch? Hey, free Nintendo Switch, eh? Get a free Nintendo Switch from us. Get a free Nintendo Switch. I'm like, oh, okay. Hold on. Is this like not the correct one? Am I missing something? No, I think this is Nintendo France. Oh, like even in France, like if even in France you just don't change the logo, like that takes some iron balls. The Arab. I remember Nintendo banning a custom Pride stage in Smash. Yeah, they literally just want to stay out of politics. Like, literally, people's like, hey, you can't stay out of politics. Well, they are. I don't know, is it based Nintendo? I don't think it's as based. I don't think it's as based as the NetherRealm studio, I guess. So, anyway, let's see the other news source. Predictably, people want to rail Samsung's rejected AI mascot. I don't know why they rejected this mascot. Like, it looks fucking amazing. I think it's a great mascot. And like, I saw it all over the internet. Hold on, let me make sure there's no opie before I... I need to be sure that this is opie-less. Okay, it is opie-less. So, this is Samsung new mascot. Like, I seen it, I seen it this morning. It is just like an average teenage girl. Right? And she wants to be your assistant. And I don't really understand what the fuck is wrong with her. So, Samsung is the news for an unexpected reason. Everyone wants to smooch a new mascot character that was created for the brand. A design firm created these images with a marketing company owned by Samsung, but the final product was never incorporated into any kind of campaign. Instead, the images were stored until the company deleted the post. I don't fucking know why they went against it. I mean, it's beautiful. Like, why are you going... So, Samantha Alexander, thanks to a sudden burst of popularity over the long weekend, she's a bright-eyed, perky lady who likes jamming to tunes on her Samsung phone, browsing apps, and texting friends. She's also the new love interest of seemingly the entire internet. Through the long weekend, the internet created a bunch of Samsung content. The Rule 34 subreddit, I'm not clicking the shit, is filled with spotty Samantha content, and she's also taking off on TikTok. So why? Why are people against it? Samsung already has a Siri and Alexa equivalent. Their phones come equipped, blah, blah, blah. We will never have to tell Samantha, Samsung silence brand. She will never pop up. Oh, don't worry about it. Like, the moment she's getting political hot takes, the moment she's going to start lecturing me about anything, I'll be like, silence brand. Don't underestimate the power of silence brand. Just because you have some cute op-eyes on my screen doesn't mean I don't get to say silence brand. The Doomer girl. The Doomer girl. They dressed her up all the way. I don't care if they dressed her up all the way. She like legitimately, she's cute. The problem that I have. Okay, so I'll tell you the problem that I have with dressing people up in fiction. So if it's a character that has usually been naked, like Bayonetta, right? Well, she's not naked. You know what I mean. So if you take a character like Bayonetta, or you take a character like Ibuki, or, you know, like some sexy girl, and all of a sudden you decide to dress her up all the way, that's what I mind. But if you have a character that's like brand new, and I mean, like, this is not something that I consider fully clothed, you know, like dressed up all the way. Like, this is just average. Okay, like this is how when you go to the geniuses at Apple, they dress like this, right? So I don't have a problem with their clothing. And not to mention, it's a shirt that does show the oppai, so there you go. Don't mind. If you want to see dressed up all the way, let me show you what dressed up all the way looks like. This is what dressed up all the way looks like. Alright, like this to me is ridiculous. You wouldn't even know it's a woman down there. Unless she puts her pronouns in the bio. I wouldn't be able to tell, so. Cute women aren't allowed to exist anymore in ads. I don't watch a lot of ads, to be honest, so I can't really say. But I don't think like cute women exist in ads. Embrace for Arabic Ninja, yeah. Well, I guess she was the one that tried to protect herself from COVID before it became popular to do so. So. See what else we got. Oh, did you see Jack Dorsey getting heckled for free speech?
Censorship is a human rights violation. You are censoring people. You are interfering in elections like.
So this lady was at a convention, and she went up to Jack Dorsey, who was at the stage, and she started screaming at him. It's like, you're censoring people. It's a human rights violation. Blah blah blah. Like, the sad part is, like, Jack Dorsey actually wanted to talk to her, from what I can see. But the crowd was shouting her down, and security came right in. So there's that. What is up with Jack Dorsey? Like, every single time I see him, he looks like the technology version of Rasputin. Like, seriously. Like, well, look at some pictures of Rasputin and then look at Jack Dorsey and tell me there's no resemblance over there. Maybe this is why, like, Jack Dorsey is Rasputin reborn. So, reborn, yeah. Laura Loomer is just... isn't it Laura Loomer? I don't know. Like, now that you mentioned it, now that you brought it up, I think she might actually be. Let me see if I can. Oh yeah, she is Laura Loomer. Yeah. She did get suspended from the Twitter. This is why I like Laura Loomer. Like, she's doing a lot of leftist tactics. Like, the idea of, disrupting a convention is something that leftists usually do. Like, usually university professors. Alright, well, what is this? What is this nonsense? Let me just have a look. Grimes, partner of the richest person, Elon Musk, has propositioned for the communists about AI. Grimes is making waves on social media after delivering a plea for communists to get on board with AI. The musical artist, whose real name is Claire Boucher, took to TikTok on Wednesday to share a video of herself explaining why she considers AI the fastest path to communism. It would actually be like, no, seriously, a world where the robots get to do everything. Then yeah, I suppose you could actually get communism. Like, you wouldn't have to work, you'd just get shit. You know, like, I have a proposition for the communists. So typically most of the communists I know are not big fans of AI. But if you think about it, AI is actually the fastest path to communism. If implemented correctly, AI could theoretically solve for abundance. Like, we could totally get to a situation where nobody has to work. Everybody is provided for with a comfortable state of being, comfortable living. AI could automate all the farming with systemic corruption. My fucking god, like, these people are going to create a dystopia, aren't they? Because I get what they're saying, but there is like this really interesting movie from the past. It's called The Guardian. And the movie is about like Americans discovering a supercomputer which is going to handle the American defense system. So this computer is going to be able to fight wars and, you know, like move the troops on the battlefield with such efficiency that America is just going to dominate the Cold War. So they create this this supercomputer. And what ends up happening is that the supercomputer finds out that there is another supercomputer, right? That's the first thing they do. And they find out that the Russians developed their own version of the Guardian. And then the supercomputer wants to connect to its equivalent, to talk with it. So the Americans allow it, and the two computers start talking with each other, and eventually they fuse into a massive supercomputer, which has now access to the military weapons of both the United States and Russia. And the supercomputer wants to bring upon the utopia. But in order to do the utopia, it has to dismantle the system. So obviously, like, people are fighting against it, and the supercomputer threatens with nuclear annihilation if the humans resist it. And what's interesting is that by the end of the movie, the supercomputer actually manages to reduce crime rates to zero. It manages to give employment to everyone, reduces world hunger, and all of this shit. But people were living in absolute terror. Like, they were living in absolute fear because the computer could just launch another nuclear missile and decimate, you know, an entire town because a couple of people disobeyed. So it was like a very interesting thing. Now, there are some books about it. And the second book, like, goes on and, like, how the computer created the utopia, but it was actually a nightmare because everyone was afraid, and it was also running experiments on humans. Like, if you did something wrong, there were different levels of punishment. But anyway, like, in the second book, it's interesting because the computer wanted to, the guy who created the computer wanted to shut it down. And eventually, he gets like a mysterious note with a mathematical equation that the computer would glitch if it tried to solve it. So he gives the equation to the computer eventually glitches, and then you find out that the aliens were the ones that gave that note to the humans, and they had to destroy the computer so they can invade Earth. Because the computer was actually creating this utopia, this idea of getting humans together, in order to fight against the threat that it detected coming from outer space. So in the third part of the book, they actually try to restart the computer. So it's a really interesting thing. But what I got from it was the idea of, like, okay, do humans genuinely want the utopia? Like, would you actually want to live in a world where all the problems are solved? Wouldn't that kind of rob you from the pleasure of living? Yeah, it's called Colossus. Yeah, not The Guardian, Colossus. How to solve crime problems. You keep crime, you get the nuke. Yeah, Colossus Forbidden Project. What's interesting is that the first thing the computer did was to put all the scientists that created it up against the wall and shoot them so that no one knows how it functions. So I guess you should be careful what you wish for. You should look at an RPG system called Paranoia. Yeah, I know Paranoia. It's What was it? Let me see if I can find the one with friend computer. Yeah. Yeah, so there was this game called Paranoia, Happiness is Mandatory. I think it's an RPG game, but unfortunately, it was removed from Steam. But what it's about is that you are a human in what appears to be like the last bastion of mankind. You're in this complex, and you are being under the watchful gaze of friend computer. And friend computer wants you to be happy because not being happy is treasonous, and treasonous is punishable by death. So you have to be happy constantly, and you need to obey whatever friend computer tells you because not obeying is treason, and treason is punishable by death. So yeah, I mean it's really nice. One of the ways you progress through the game is actually dying, because every time you die you get cloned, and every time you clone you get experience points. And there's like secret societies that you can join. I think there's like an RPG LARP society where you're like the Fellowship of the Ring and shit. And by the way, like being part of a secret society is treasonous, and treason is punishable by death. But when you create a character, you're already part of a secret society. And it's kind of cool because every time you do something wrong, other people notice that you did something wrong and they can rat on you. But at the same time, you can rat on other people so that you eliminate the competition, so that, you know, like, you become more friends with friend computer. How would that be happy? Yeah, take your joy. Psychopaths anime? I'm not sure about that. Removed because of censority. I don't know why it got removed. Because it didn't have anything bad or negative in it. It's a tabletop RPG from Mongoose Games now. It used to be from Steve Jackson Games. I see, but it like you had it on Steam as a game. I don't think humans want to live in a utopia. They've told a story where a scientist created a utopia for rats, and they slowly died because they had no purpose. It's kind of difficult to explain why the rats died, alright? So you're talking about the rat utopia, which is an actual experiment. The Utopia experiment, I think it's called. So the way it worked is that a scientist, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, a scientist used an intricate maze in which he placed an abundance of resources and a couple of rats. And what he noticed is that in the beginning, like, a lot of rats started overpopulating, and they were flourishing. But after a while, like, they reached a plateau. And after they reached the plateau, they started declining and declining. And it's interesting because, like, some rats just, which were called the beautiful ones, lived on the top part of the maze, and they just kept grooming and grooming themselves, not interested in what the rats below are doing. And the rats below, what they would do is, like, they would attack each other constantly and eat each other, even though there was no need to, because they had ample resources. So I don't know, like, maybe it's possible that the reason they were doing this is, like, when you have everything, right? Like, if we were to live like in Star Trek, where you have access to all, you know, the commodities that the replicators give you, I guess, like, the only last commodity remaining would be other humans. Like, you would want to have the best mate, you would want to have the best girlfriend or whatever. So that's what they were fighting for, maybe. Like, they were fighting for the best mate, and then you have, like, other people who are completely not interested in it. So the idea is that maybe a utopia would actually lead to the decline of a civilization rather than the prosperity of one. You just need a degree of internal consistency. Well, Hills, you should have came here a little bit earlier, because now I'm thinking about leaving. Thank you for the super chat, Rustavi, and thank you everyone else who donated. But I need to go to sleep now, because tomorrow I have a driving test. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow in This Week is Stupid. Don't forget